Okay, let's dive into something I think a lot of us grapple with. Wanting to build wealth, feeling that pressure, maybe feeling a bit lost about where to even begin.
Yeah, that feeling of being overwhelmed, maybe unprepared, it's super common, especially with all the advice flying around.
Totally. And, if you're younger, maybe you've even bumped up against that skepticism from older generations, the whole kids these days thing.
Oh, yeah. That narrative definitely exists.
Well, that whole dynamic was kind of the spark for the source material we're looking at today. It's this really compelling YouTube video by Mark Tilbury.
Ah, okay.
And it came about because of something he actually witnessed. He was in a cafe, saw this young guy, Jake, really ambitious, asking an older man for advice on getting rich.
Okay, and how did that go?
Well, the video creator calls the older guy Mr. Grumpy, and apparently he was pretty dismissive, just shut Jake down.
Oh, really?
Yeah, according to the source, he went into this whole thing about how the younger generation is lazy, makes excuses, wants handouts, doesn't get hard work.
Yeah.
You know the type.
Right, without really acknowledging maybe things are different now.
Exactly. And the creator, Tilbury, he'd made his first million in his 20s, so he kind of saw himself in Jake. He couldn't just sit there.
So he stepped in.
He did. He basically challenged Mr. Grumpy's view, pointed out how the world has changed, and said, look, the path isn't the same, but young people today have incredible drive and potential.
Good for him. And that led to the advice in the video.
Precisely. He sat down with Jake afterwards and shared the advice that forms the 5 core principles we're going to unpack.
Okay, sounds great.
So our mission here is to really distill those principles from this specific source. We want to pull out the actionable stuff to give you, the listener, a practical roadmap, at least as presented in this video. Ready to jump in?
Let's do it. So principle number 1, as the source puts it, is obsess over sharpening your axe. It's all about skills.
I like that analogy, sharpening your axe. The source kicks off by saying, look, traditional schooling, it doesn't always set you up for actually earning money in your 20s.
Right. You learn theory, maybe not the practical application for wealth building.
Exactly. Then you're out, you see all this stuff on social media, Lambos, whatever, and feel like you're totally behind.
Yeah, that pressure is real.
And the source says trying to make big money early without solid skills. It's like trying to chop down a massive tree with a dull axe. It's just not going to work well.
It really hammers home the idea of building that capability first. And it defines these high-income skills. We're talking skills that could potentially net you, say, $10,000 a month or more.
Okay, like what specifically?
Well, the examples given are things like video editing, copywriting, high-ticket sales closing, software development, skills that are in demand.
Right, measurable stuff, the market values, not just a generic degree sometimes.
Exactly. And the creator explains why this is so crucial early on. It's not just the money itself, though obviously that's good. It's the doors those skills open. He talks about his son, Curtis. Curtis got really good at videography and editing. Within a year of graduating, yeah, he was making good money. But the real kicker, the source points out, was the access the skill gave him.
Access!
Yeah, he was suddenly in rooms with really successful people, learning things, getting information others would pay a fortune for, just because his skill put him there.
Ah, I see. So the skill is leverage. It gets you more than just a paycheck.
That's the idea. And the source frames it as a marathon, not a sprint. Don't chase the flashy stuff early on. Trust the process, build the skill.
And the money follows.
And he asserts that the millions will follow the mastery of skills. Plus, a key point, if you ever lose your money down the line, those skills mean you can rebuild. They're portable. You still have the engine to generate income.
That's a powerful safety net. So for you listening, this is about thinking. Where are you putting your learning energy? What axe are you sharpening? What skills could open those doors for you?
Right. Build the engine first.
Okay, moving on. Principle 2. Once you are earning, it's about how you handle that money. The source uses another analogy I liked. Money is like a stack of cookies.
Cookies?
Okay.
Yeah, the more you handle it, touch it, move it around, spend it, the more it just crumbles away.
Ah, I get it. Temptation to spend, right? Especially when you're young. Bottles, cars, whatever.
Exactly. Instead of letting it grow. And this leads into the core of this principle. Compound interest.
Yes. The source calls this the absolute key to building real long-term wealth. It brings up Warren Buffett, how something like 99% of his fortune came after age 50.
Wow, 99% after 50.
Yeah, it just shows the power of long-term compounding. The message is, you got to put your money into assets where it can grow. ideally undisturbed, not just sitting in a bank account and definitely not just being spent.
Let it work for you, basically. Keep your hands off the cookie jar.
Pretty much. The source mentions different assets, real estate, high-end watches, gold. But the creator's main focus, where he built his wealth, was the stock market.
Okay.
And a really interesting point he makes is, making your first million is one thing. The real game, the path to a fortune, is keeping it and getting it invested ASAP so it starts compounding. Keeping it and growing it, not just making it once.
Right. He even shares his own rule from when he was younger. Never sell the long-term stocks. And he says now that generates significant passive income. Gives an example of around $17,000 a week.
$17,000 a week, passively. That really drives the point home about long-term compounding.
It does. And the source stresses you don't need huge amounts to start. It's about consistency. Decide on a percentage of your income, whatever it is, and invest it automatically.
Make it a habit.
Exactly. There's a calculation in the source. Invest just $250 a month, put it in a low-cost index fund, assume maybe a 10% average annual return, which it notes is pretty close to the S&P 500's average over the last decade, like 10.98%.
Okay, $250 a month.
Over 40 years. That could grow to over $1.5 million.
Just from $250 a month consistently. Yeah, that's the magic of compounding right there.
It really illustrates it. And there's another quick example from his son. The son set up an auto investment, just £5 a day, like the price of a coffee.
£5 a day.
Yeah, into an app. After about 10 months, that small daily amount had grown to 164 bars, showing something like an 11.14% return already in that short time.
So it works even on a small scale. You just need to start. Okay, so for you, the listener, this principle is really a call to action. Make investing automatic as soon as you have income. Figure out a percentage, set it up, and let it run. Let time and compounding do the heavy lifting.
Couldn't say it better.
All right, principle 3, this one gets into the mindset. It tackles a biggie, fear.
Ah, yes, fear, the big blocker.
Totally. The source specifically calls out the fear of being judged if you fail, says it paralyzes so many young people, stops them taking chances.
Which is understandable, but...
But the source asks, if you just do what everyone else is doing, play it safe.
Right.
How do you actually get ahead?
Right. You can't expect different results doing the same thing. This principle argues you need to take calculated risks. And it points to the single biggest advantage young people have.
Let me guess. Time.
Exactly. Time. Because you have decades ahead of you, your ability to tolerate risk should be at its absolute peak. You've got time to recover from setbacks, time to learn.
Time is your cushion for risk-taking.
Precisely. The creator shares a personal story quitting a carpenter job he hated because of bullying. Scary move at the time, he says, but totally transformative for his path.
A real-world example of taking that leap.
Yeah. And it applies to investing, too. Older folks might need safer assets like bonds or gold to protect what they have, but younger people. The source argues they can afford potentially higher growth, maybe riskier assets like stocks, because they have the time horizon to ride out the ups and downs.
Makes sense. You can weather the storms if your destination is 30 or 40 years away.
Exactly. And the course really warns against future regret. Looking back when you're older and thinking, man, I wish I'd just done that. That feeling of missed opportunity because of fear.
Oof. Yeah, nobody wants that.
Failure, especially when you're young, isn't painted as this terrible thing. It's just testing, figuring things out. The source notes that most successful people failed, like hundreds of times. Success comes from sticking with it, learning from the failures, not giving up.
Endurance and learning, not instant perfection. So for you listening, think about risk through the lens of time. What chances might you be shying away from because you're worried about what others think or about failing? Maybe slip it. What's the risk of not acting? What future regrets might you be setting yourself up for?
It's a powerful reframing.
Okay, principle 4. This one suggests getting rich isn't just luck, it's presented as a learnable skill.
Right. Not some mystical secret.
Yeah, and the video brings up the Dunning-Kruger effect, that man's stupid idea where a little bit of knowledge makes you think you know it all.
Yeah. Overconfidence stopping a further learning.
Exactly. The source argues this arrogance can prevent people from continuing to learn, and it kind of critiques the traditional idea that, you finish school in your 20s and your formal learning is just done.
Which is definitely not how it works in the real world, especially with money. This principle hammers home that learning and applying that learning. It's a lifelong process. It never stops.
Constant updates needed.
Absolutely. You have to stay current to spot opportunities. The creator gives his own examples using YouTube, TikTok, financial news, always consuming information. He mentions a big crypto investment he made in 2019.
Yeah.
Says it came directly from staying plugged in, seeing the trends, spotting that opportunity early.
So learning isn't just books, it's actively scanning the environment for what's happening now.
Exactly. And learning from people who are ahead of you. Respecting the process, putting in the work to understand things. The source mentions trying to learn something from everyone you meet. That kind of humility keeps you growing.
I like that. Always be learning.
Yeah, the analogy used is your brain needs constant software updates to stay sharp. Avoid the viruses of outdated thinking. Use it or lose it. Really applies to financial knowledge.
Keeps the mental muscle strong. Okay, so for you, the listener, see yourself as a lifelong student in this wealth building game. Where are you getting your software updates? Who are you learning from? It's not a one and done course, it's an ongoing journey.
Well said.
All right, final principle, number 5. This tackles something external but powerful, your social circle.
Ah, the people you hang around with.
Yeah. The source frames it as potentially breaking the poverty cycle by consciously connecting with people who are already on the path you want to be on. It even cites a specific study from 2024.
Oh, interesting. A study.
Yeah, from the National Bureau of Economic Research. The source highlights the findings. Apparently, just a 10% increase in the number of wealthy friends someone had, that correlated with almost a 3% higher chance of them investing in the stock market.
Wow.
And a 5% higher chance of them saving money.
That's actually a pretty significant link between friends and financial actions.
It really is. And the source explains why. It's not usually about handouts or anything.
Right. So what is it?
It's about guidance, information, and normalization. Friends who are already doing this stuff, investing, saving, maybe running a side hustle, they can explain complex things in plain English. They make it seem less scary, less foreign.
So it demystifies it. Seeing someone you know doing it makes it feel achievable, normal even.
Exactly. It normalizes the behavior. But the source is careful here. It's not saying ditch your old friends or force connections.
Okay, that's important.
Yeah, it's more about being intentional. Seeking out environments where you might naturally meet people who have that knowledge or mindset. Think joining clubs, groups, communities related to your interests or goals.
So expanding your circle strategically, not abandoning it.
Right. Those connections can then act as accelerators, providing insights, and just making those positive financial habits feel, well, normal, like something people you know actually do.
That makes a lot of sense. Influenced by association almost.
Yeah. So for you listening, think about your circle of influence regarding money. Who are you talking to about this stuff? Are you around people who make investing seem normal and achievable or intimidating? Thinking about how you might intentionally connect with people who can offer that guidance and normalization could be a really big step.
Definitely food for thought.
So just to recap the 5 big principles from the source. 1, obsess over sharpening those high-income skills. 2, lock your money away. Invest it consistently for compound growth.
3, be brave, take calculated risks, leverage your time. 4, stay a student. Always be learning and updating your knowledge.
And 5, be intentional about your circle. Connect with people who can guide and normalize wealth-building behaviors.
That covers it. And the source ends on a really positive note, kind of pushing back against that initial Mr. Grumpy cynicism.
How so?
It really emphasizes the potential and drive of young people today, calls them the backbone, the future leaders. And it makes the point that, yeah, there are cynics, but there are also plenty of older people who do understand and support the younger generation's journey.
That's a good counterbalance, a hopeful message.
Definitely.
So it leaves you thinking about building wealth not as some lottery ticket, but as this skill set, something you learn, something you practice, something influenced by continuous learning and the connections you make.
Yeah, when you frame it like that.
It makes you think, right? So here's a final thought for you to chew on. Considering that building wealth is presented here as this learnable skill, needing those constant knowledge updates and strategic connections, what's one immediate software update you could seek out this week? Maybe one piece of knowledge to track down. Or perhaps one new connection you could try to explore. What's one small step you could take to accelerate your own deep dive into this whole process? Something to think about.